Hello, and hello everybody, and welcome to a video on Titus Korzak. I have heard of the kaiju, but not a lot. And this channel ain't supported, but please go and subscribe to gojicentre. Sorry, I just want to double check because I know it's similar to something else. I watch. So go subscribe to gojicentre if you haven't already. Do it now, and we'll see what the battle breakdown is. Let's get into it.
In the graphic novel Kingdom Kong, we find one of the most intense battles ever seen in the Monsterverse. A Titan prophesized to return, bringing chaos and death, and the one technically responsible for the destruction of Skull Island, Titanus Camazotz. Today we will learn about the origins of this kaiju and where he stands in the Monsterverse timeline. Join us as we cover his fight against Kong in detail to find out the truth about how powerful this Titan really is. If this is your first time here, please make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring that bell to not miss any of our episodes. gojicentre presents Titanus Camazotz, Titan In-Depth Analysis. Before we witness this kaiju fight, let's very quickly talk about how you can also throw some stuff.
Okay, as it's their sponsor, I'll pause the video, get past the sponsor, and then for me it will probably take like a minute. For you, it will take less than a second. So, see you in a minute. See you. Okay, back.
Let's get back to Camazotz. Number 1, the timeline.
So what is
the word Camazotz originates from a Mesoamerican word that literally means death bat. This so-called Camazotz was a deity worshipped by the ancient Mayans and Zapotec natives near the lower regions of Mexico and Central America.
The more you know.
This dude was synonymous with night, blood, death, and sacrifice. Precisely the type of stuff that describes our modern Monsterverse rendition of Titanus Camazotz. This Titan, according to the Monsterverse timeline, first appeared on the Earth's surface during the cataclysmic events that happened in 2019. Unlike the other 17 Titans and counting, this kaiju was not held in a Monarch facility. This was one of those kaiju that appeared out of nowhere and was not accounted for. It's currently unknown where this Titan first surfaced from, but here's what we do know. In the graphic novel Kingdom Kong, it is mentioned that this kaiju resided somewhere near an entrance to the Hollow Earth. So after the events of 2019 were over, Camazotz retreated back to this layer of the Earth and somehow found its way underneath one of Skull Island's caverns. But not just any cavern. The cave that Camazotz landed on was the one that held a vile vortex, similar to the one that appeared in GVK in Antarctica. Yes, Skull Island had one of these too, but this one was classified. Another important event that is currently going on is the fact that there were a few storms that Ghidorah left behind. You may remember the scene when Ghidorah and Rodan had their first confrontation. This storm never went anywhere. In fact, this one headed straight to Skull Island, traveling through the Pacific Ocean and making landfall right where this vortex was. But why? Upon further observation, Dr. Brooks here figured out that something was traveling in and out of the vile vortex, causing tremors to occur and further attracting this storm closer to the island. But what or who was penetrating this vortex's veil? This was none other than Titanus Camazotz. That's right, folks. This is why Skull Island turned into this stormy hell that we witnessed in GVK. Why is this important? Remember, Camazotz, being a bat titan, thrives in areas where there is no sunlight. An island blotted out of the sun by a storm would then allow Camazotz to come out and proceed its warpath of death and destruction. In the book, Camazotz was the titan who pierced this vile vortex, causing tremors along the island and also bringing the storm to Skull Island. During the storm's arrival, an excavation team blasted a hole to access this vile vortex underneath Skull Island. It just so happened to be right where Camazotz was resting. Upon waking up, Camazotz now saw his opportunity to arise, thanks to the storms that were covering the sun, setting the stage for a fight against Kong.
Oh God.
Number 2, the fight.
Okay, getting in depth.
Before we begin analyzing this fight, let's first quickly run through this Titan's corporal stats. This kaiju measures a massive 164 feet while standing and has a wingspan of around 402 feet. There are no specifications on how heavy this kaiju is, but because it can go airborne, we can guess that this kaiju was much lighter than its opponent. Its armor is made of lightweight, ultra-resistant material, flexible enough to also be used as a weapon. Let's not forget to mention these little guys. These don't have an official name, but are basically miniature versions or minions that follow this Titan's commands, always accompanying him wherever he goes and while doing his bidding. Titanus Camazot's first fly.
Sorry, gojicentre. So could the little ones be like baby versions then? What do you guys think? Could they? Couldn't they be? Could it be juvies if it's not babies? Could it be a whole new species? Put your ideas in the comments. You should, 'cause I don't know.
Flies out of the cavern with its army. Immediately, Kong replies with his chest-pounding intimidation display. Kong, being a tool user, quickly looks around for a way to bring down this airborne kaiju. When throwing this massive object, Camazotz dodges this and lets out its signature weapon, the Sonic Screech. This is a roar that causes a sound so loud that it is mentioned that it can disorient Titans and could have some serious effects if this is prolonged, which is what happened to Kong. Upon feeling disoriented, Camazotz quickly grabs Kong by the shoulders using its sharp talons, carrying him in the air only to drop him from a high altitude onto the ground. The fighter squadron realized that Kong was having trouble facing Camazotz, and quite frankly, he was. Facing an airborne kaiju with melee capabilities was going to be out of Kong's comfort zone. While the jets are fighting off the smaller Camazotz minions, Titanus Camazotz flies close to Kong once again to repeat the same maneuver. But this time, Kong jumps up and grabs Camazotz by its horns, allowing him to slam the entire Titan onto the ground, where he would now have an advantage. As Kong goes down to try and finish off this seemingly disabled Camazotz, this Titan surprises Kong with a new weapon, its tail. This weapon is made up of segmented, hardened...
Well, no offense, Kong. Really? You should have... Okay, you should have grabbed the horns, bring it down. Yes, I could see that. But then grab the tail and do what they do in the cartoons, lift it over your head and smack it on the ground. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, that would have been funny. But I haven't seen the comics, so it's all new to me as well.
Layers of armor, allowing it to be used as a whip or another prehensile limb, similar to the Skullcrawler's tail. This tail is strong enough to grip onto Kong's arm and even lift up the entire Titan. Once airborne, Camazotz repeats what he did before, dropping Kong repeatedly to the ground while soaking in a lot of damage. At this point, it was evident that Kong was now being overpowered again. But because the fighter squadron was around, they were able to hit this Titan's exposed back right before he overwhelmed Kong. Infuriated, Camazotz quickly turns around and orders his minions to take care of the fighter jets. While Camazotz was ordering them to attack, Kong quickly finds an opportunity to chokehold this kaiju in an attempt to suffocate it. Kong now has Camazotz right where he wants him, but is countered by yet another Sonic Screech, this time right at Kong's ears. This was so loud that it made Kong's ears bleed. Because this screech was so loud, this pilot briefly lost control of its jet. The screech had interrupted all the comms and navigation aids. Now Camazotz managed to get loose, and now tried to fly high to later plummet and inflict a decisive blow to Kong. Meanwhile, Kong was back on the ground struggling against the overwhelming swarm of minions. Camazotz was preparing to dive into Kong in an attempt to finish him off with a decisive blow, but right before Camazotz reached Kong, the same pilot regained control of her jet and managed to break the sound barrier right in front of Camazotz, causing a flash that instantly blinded him, making this Titan lose control and crash hard onto the ground. Upon seeing what had happened, Kong quickly ran up to Camazotz to land blow after blow, similar to what he did later against the Warbat. With Camazotz now defeated, Kong now drags its weakened body close to the hole where it came from. Before getting thrown down, Camazotz made one last attempt to screech at Kong. But right before it managed to roar loud enough, Kong swung at Camazotz with full power, knocking this kaiju unconscious. Camazotz was thrown back down to the cave surrounding the vile vortex, while his minions followed their unconscious leader back down to the depths of the earth. But the real damage had already been done. Because Camazotz had breached this veil already, the effects of breaching had now caused earthquakes, but most importantly, it had now attracted a devastating storm on Skull Island, making this place uninhabitable. Knowing all this, let's now talk about what the future holds for Titanus Camazotz.
Could it come back?
Number 3, the aftermath. This is the last we hear about Titanus Camazotz. It is not clear whether he died shortly after Kong sent his body back to the Hollow Earth, but if he survived, it is possible that Camazotz, along with its army, could still be lurking in the dark nether regions of the Hollow Earth. Knowing this, it is possible that these two might have yet another confrontation in the near future, especially now that Kong lives in the Hollow Earth. While it is true that Kong was overpowered by this Titan, we find that this could have ended differently had Kong possessed a handheld weapon prior to this fight. What do you think would happen if these two Titans met again? Do you think Camazotz is the next big MonsterVerse villain?
Probably.
Let us know in the comments. Please subscribe to our channel if you want to see more fun kaiju documentaries, and if you want to see them in Spanish, we got a channel for you as well.
No. Anyway, Dragon City.
Huge thanks to Dragon City for supporting this channel, and don't forget to click on the link in the description or scan this QR code. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next video.
Okay, guys, I will look at those two videos later, or especially one of them.